One of the big talking points in comics right now is that they have to reach a new audience. We've got to get new people into comics. That maybe the current group of comics is going to age out. And there's these kind of dire warnings in a bunch of articles saying, hey, if at any moment it could tip, at any second, all our old audience could disappear, and if we don't have that new audience, we're screwed. And to that, my comment uh, is that true? And if it is true, are we really doing the best efforts possible to get that new audience? Hey, everybody, this is Perch. One of the most common arguments I've heard over the last 5 years or so, and it's just growing in intensity, but it's one of those arguments that I've learned to come to hate because it's very shallow. And it's basically that comic books need a new audience. If they don't get that new audience, they're screwed. And if that new audience doesn't come, then the old audience is going to all die suddenly tomorrow, and then comics will die. That we have to find this new audience. And on the surface, it's easy to agree with at least part of that statement. We do need more people into comics. The number is too small. No matter what side of any kind of ideological, war you're on, most people can agree comics need more readers. The disagreement comes into how are you going to get them, which is an interesting disagreement. We've talked about it before, and lots of people talk about that. But I think the part I'm wanting to bring up is, if you want that new audience, are we actually doing anything to get them now? And are the efforts that we're trying at all useful? And the answer is no. We have not seen comics grow substantially. There's a lot of praise lately for kind of Axel Alonso and how he brought diversity in, and he reached out to kind of connect with a new audience. And everybody's saying, hey, that's a great thing. A lot of applause for Alonso, and he was replaced by that foodie who Jeff Loeb hates his people, C.B. Smolsky. I'm just going to keep using that joke forever. Anyway, it is a lot of praise for him. But I think the question has to be asked, was Alonso successful? And if not, why not? Because, again, on the surface, if Alonso's goal was to broaden the appeal of comics, get new audiences in, bring more markets that were not in comics before. And one of the ways he wanted to do that was to tap into, non-white, for lack of a better word, markets that were being underserved in comics. Not a bad idea, but it didn't work. Those audiences didn't come. The numbers didn't rise. Why? And I'm not saying this sarcastically. Some people coming into this video, I'm convinced, by the way, that a bunch of people read the title and then they comment and they make, because there's been some comments, especially on the article I did, or the review of the article I did on diversity, that was just like clearly the people did not actually listen to the video. I like the one guy who's like, is this what this channel has become? Dude, me talking about this is always what this channel has been. What are you talking about become? But regardless of all that, I think it's worth really examining why didn't it work? Because factually, it did not work. Only a complete lunatic would sit there and go, oh, and everything was great. It wasn't working. Now, you might argue, and this would be a very interesting argument, it was going to work, it just needed more time. Okay, that could be. Maybe it's true that if we just would have let this one ride for another 10 years, that audience would have materialized. And if so, then we really need to go back and look at what Alonso is doing and determine if we need to get back on course. I'd be very open to that discussion. It might be true. But the signs, if you're an executive and you're looking to where you're spending your money and how your business is going, I'd be skeptical that it was working and it just needed more time. If you're ever working in a company and you have a product or you have a project and you're trying to, the product is going to slip. Basically, it's going to miss its deadline. You need more time. You need more money. You have to come up with a very compelling argument to the management over why you deserve that money, that you're going to use it well, and that it's not going to go to waste. If we agree to a delay, it's worth making that delay. I don't know if I don't think that it would be very hard to make that argument around what Alonso was doing. So then it begs the question, well, why didn't it work? Did he have the wrong talent? Did the comic books, were they marketed to the wrong place? Did they, was the price point too high? Did the new audience not even realize comics existed, and so they were being marketed to the wrong channels? These are all great questions, interesting questions. I think that it's important to look at why. So take it for example. There's a belief, and it's a well-founded belief, that the Latino market could be really into comics. That this could be a thing that really is, could do very, very well. Okay, if that's the case, then why didn't like America Chavez land with that audience? And maybe a good follow-up question is, why aren't there more comics aimed at the Latin audience? Why aren't we doing more of those? And maybe here's like my suggestion is, when I look at the marketing for these comics, in many cases they're marketed to the existing audience, not the new audience. The only thing that's been mildly successful in terms of new marketing is when they market to the scholastic audience. And there we see that Squirrel Girl and Moon Girl and some of these books do okay when offered in scholastic. They're going in, with very little fanfare, very little marketing, but at least it's a new channel, and we are seeing some pickup there. There are some, not huge numbers, but there are at least some numbers. And so I think it's a clue that there are buyers out there. But if we roll out a new comic, so you look at America Chavez or look at Mosaic, okay, two comics aimed at a different non-white audience. All right, cool. Where are you marketing these books? Where are the ads? Where are the promotions? Well, 95% of them were in comics that people were already buying, i.e., the audience you don't have. The audience you already have, not the audience you want. So this new audience you're going to bring in, they're not going to see them because they're not buying the product today. Or they were marketed in kind of comic shops, again, places your existing audience is going, but not your new audience. Or they're marketed at comic conventions. And here's the one that is the most baffling to me, because you'll hear stories. Sana Amanat has told the story about, she's there and a little girl came up and she's dressed in a Miss Marvel costume, and it was like, and a little Muslim girl, and saying, "Thank you for creating a character that looked like me." And Amanat says, this is a sign that we're reaching this new audience. I felt very proud. Cool. Well, you can feel proud, but did you reach a new audience? The person who's coming up to you at a con, who's complimenting a comic book that you started publishing 2 months ago, because this is when this story landed, that kid was already going to the con. They didn't just wake up one day and say, you know what, I think I'll buy some tickets to San Diego Comic-Con a month before it comes out. That is not how it works. And even if, really stretching the imagination, this kid went to the shop, found Miss Marvel somehow, had no interest in comics, but somehow found this comic, loved it, started reading it, decided to dress up like Miss Marvel and go to a comic convention and then seek out Sana Amanat to thank her. Even if all those things were true, which is stretching belief past a breaking point, you've reached one person. My ask is, where, if you're trying to appeal to a Latino market with a title like America Chavez, are you advertising on Univision? Are you looking at distribution markets for other kind of Mexican periodicals or different products aimed at the Latino market? Are you pushing the comic anywhere in any of these other channels where this new market exists? And the answer, 99 times out of 100, is no. So please listen to what I'm saying here very, very closely. I think going after these new markets is a good idea. I think putting titles out aimed at these other places, great. Grow the overall bubble. And hopefully one day we'll get these people into a comic shop. That's good. But while you're thinking of that brand new exciting title that you're going to do, you've got to figure out how to market and promote it in a place that's not your existing audience. It is asinine to say, I'm going to get a new audience by marketing to my existing audience. That will not work. A first grade economics student can tell you that. Not that there is economics in first grade, but it's a nice thought. A first year college, whatever. You have to be smarter than that. I think another deceptive kind of practice here is you see organizations like the Gay and Lesbian Alliance gives an award to a title like Iceman. That's cool, and it's something Cena Grace and Marvel should be proud of. Good for you, you got that award. But is that translating to people becoming aware of the title? Are you really getting any audience from that? Keep in mind, Marvel submitted for the award themselves. They went for the award. It's not like this organization was just out there trolling around and stumbled across this comic. In many cases, when you win these awards, it's because you apply for them. And even if these organizations are trying to just seek out things and give awards to different periodicals, uh, there's still that's not a marketing arm. They're giving you an award, but it's not like there's a bunch of young gay readers who are like, man, I really want something to read, but I have no idea where to go. I know. I'll go look at marvel.com and look to see if they've won any GLAAD awards recently for comics. That's insane. They're not marketed to the audience they're trying to get. So this may be a different take from where you've heard before. I don't know. But I do think it's a good idea. Again, it's a good idea to go for these other audiences. We need more people into comics. But this idea that, hey, we've got to get comics into these new markets immediately right now, it's a crisis because our old audience is dying. If that is your belief, and whether you're right or you're wrong, your immediate instinct is to then go create new comics and then market it to that old dying audience that you're talking about, you are going to fail. This shouldn't be that hard of a concept. I want to see comic companies, publishers, when they're talking about diversity and growing the audience and getting more readers into comics, when they talk about this kind of stuff, I want to see a marketing and a publishing and a distribution and a promotion plan behind it that's going to go find those readers. Not just say, hey, we're doing something amazing over here and we are Marvel, pound chest. Therefore, people will just come and find us because this new diverse audience that doesn't know about our comics today, they have been sitting just waiting anxiously, breathlessly, looking at our site every single day for us to just print comics of characters that look like them, and then they'll all come in droves. If this is what you believe, you deserve to be fired. You're an idiot. I hate to see these good efforts wasted, and some of the efforts are good. I don't think America Chavez was a good book, but the idea of going and getting a Latino audience, great. Let's try it. But put it this way, when they're advertising for AAA or they're advertising for luchador wrestling, they do not advertise it on Fox News or CNN. They advertise it on Univision. They advertise it where the market is, because that's the only intelligent thing to do. I don't know. What about you? Do you think I'm overreacting here, or is this common sense? Is this just how it should be? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. And like, subscribe, follow me on social media, or send me an email. But most importantly, well, before I get there, I want to see these comics grow. I hope everybody does. And I hate seeing these efforts just go just dumbly into the wind. Thanks for listening.